Looks like we are live. What is good, everybody? It is the Godfather of VR, the ageless one of the man, Lincoln Clay, coming back at you with a very late live stream or very early live stream, depending on your sleeping habits and depending on what time of the day, morning you decide that it is. Um, I consider this the middle of the night. In any case, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it, everybody. And I had been meaning to do a stream. I first talked about doing a stream a couple of days ago, and I'm finally getting around to it. So, but the big thing was I was just trying to decide what was I going to talk about, because there was several subjects out there. H player was good. Been a while since I've seen you. There was a few subjects that I wanted to talk about, but I wanted to narrow it down to one or two subjects. And honestly, I should have done this on the Godfather of VR channel. But this situation right here, I decided to do it on this channel because I wanted it to reach as many viewers as possible. So let's get right to it. And where do I start? Obviously we're going to talk about the PlayStation VR. I'm trying to decide where to start with that. The current PlayStation VR, well, the squeezy was good. With the current PlayStation VR, I thought it was. I guess it had its moments where it looked really, really promising, and it looked like it was really, really going to grow. And it did sell 5 million headsets, give or take. I don't know what the numbers are now, but these was numbers that we were given about a year ago, whatever the case may be. I think it could have done a lot better. I'm going to get my PC today. Excellent. How long before you get a headset after that? So, in any case, I thought the PSVR could have sold more than 5 million headsets. I think Sony did a horrendous job of marketing this headset. I think they could have done a lot better job than that. I mean, look at the way Facebook is marketing the Quest 2. I mean, at least for me, on YouTube, it seems like almost every other ad is a Quest 2 ad. And Sony didn't really market the PlayStation VR like that. Not only that, other factors as to why I think the headset only did 5 million. You have to keep in mind that the console launched in 2013 and the headset launched in 2016. It also launched to a price of $500, along with Sony doing a poor job of marketing the headset. So I think that if I don't know, people probably think that wouldn't have been a good idea, but I think if they would have launched the headset alongside the console, or maybe a year after the console comes out instead of 3 years after, and it would have been reasonably priced, I think they could have sold anywhere from 7 to 10 million headset. Said the PSVR is good. It is, but I mean, eventually I'm going to get around to saying why. But if somebody was getting into VR for the first time, The only way I could recommend the PSVR for them is if they already have a PlayStation. If they don't have a PlayStation and they're looking to get into VR for the first time, I couldn't recommend PSVR to them. I would have to recommend the Quest 2 to them. So it is a little bit dated now. It is a little bit old, but in any case, getting back to why, um, if it wasn't for those factors that I was talking about, the headset launch, the headset launching 3 years after the console came out, the headset launching at $500. Sony doing a terrible job of marketing this headset, and then I said that right from the word go when the headset launched at $500. I feel like your peripheral should never cost more than your base. That being said, I don't think that the headset should have cost more than the console. You had the PlayStation Pro costing $400 and having a headset costing $500. That's a hard sell, in my opinion. Now, don't get me wrong. Out of the big three, the PlayStation VR was the cheapest compared to the Oculus Rift, which was $600 at the time, and the HTC Vive, which was $700 at the time. But console goers don't see it like that. To them, $500 was still steep. And at the time, I thought it was still steep. I understand now that it was the cheapest of the three, but that's still pricey to console gamers. So that being said, if they would have launched that headset alongside the console at $500, then you would have had a couple of years to get established with that headset. You also have a couple of years for materials and labor, materials to get cheaper so you can manufacture these headsets at a lower price. So look at the situation that we're in now. That headset launched at $500, and now that it's down to an affordable $350 is outdated by today's standards, and it's the end of the generation. And a new generation has started. Not only that, Sony doesn't seem to want to, in my opinion, they don't seem to want to sell anything, as far as games go. Because, they even removed the VR section of the PlayStation Store. If there's something you want, you have to specifically type it in. The games are still there, but there's no specific VR section in the store. Visqueezy, I first need a better screen. I need 144 hertz reaction time, 1 millisecond. I'm selling 2 screens, 60 hertz, 27, to get a better screen. Okay. 144 hertz, probably a 1440p headset. That's going to be a little bit pricey. I don't know what that would be like over in Germany, but I know over here you stared at a few $100s for a monitor like that. So anyway, and you still have this situation with the PlayStation VR. The current one is still sitting on store shelves for $350. From what I'm seeing on the outside looking in, the new generation has started. You don't really seem interested in further marketing the current PlayStation VR. There's no, there doesn't seem to be any exclusives on the horizon. I don't know. See, the situation with the Hitman game, I think it's supposed to come out this month. The Hitman VR, I don't know if that's going to be a PlayStation VR or a timed exclusive, what have you. But other than that, they don't really have any exclusives on the horizon. So, bottom line is, I feel like Sony is done with the current PlayStation VR. We're not going to get any more games out of them. Like I said, they kind of removed the VR section of the current store. Um, and I'm a little bit surprised that they're still selling the current headset at $350. Those headsets, I hate to say it, are probably going to remain on store shelves. It is the new generation. And then the X factor in all this is the Oculus Quest. The success of the Oculus Quest has changed a lot of things. Simply deep, what is good? And so with Sony's with Happy New Year, same to you. With Sony seemingly being done with the current PSVR, they're not marketing it. We don't have any games coming out for it. Um, None worth talking about. Along with the success of the Oculus Quest, um, yeah, they're pretty much done with the current PSVR headset. And I know that as far as PSVR 2, a lot of us in the VR community believed that Sony had steered clear of talking about PSVR 2 because they didn't want to give the impression that the PS5 was going to be primarily a VR console. Um, Mission accomplished. The PS5 is high in demand. The scalpers are jumping all over it. And it's going to remain in demand for quite a while. I think if Sony is still committed to VR, I think 2021 has to be the year that they start talking about it. So, I mean, to me, I felt like other than when they said a couple of years ago that the PSVR 2 would, have bigger and better experiences. Since then, we haven't really heard a peep out of them about PSVR 2. And I'm wondering if the success of the Oculus Quest has changed their plans. Because I'm sure Sony has been working on PSVR 2 in some capacity. My belief was that PSVR 2 is where Sony would make their move. The current PSVR is, Sony dipping their foot into VR waters, and PSVR 2 is when Sony would actually make their move. But we haven't really been hearing anything out of them. And don't think for 1 minute, in my opinion, don't think for 1 minute that they won't scrap PSVR 2 because, I mean, shit. I mean, I know they don't operate like Microsoft, but look how quick Microsoft pulled the plug on Kinect. And that wasn't a situation of another device or a competitor changing the market. That was simply backlash from Microsoft trying to force people to take the Kinect. The DRM, the concern over the privacy, that kind of thing. This situation here is a little bit different because what we're dealing with right now, the success of the Oculus Quest, 2-3 years ago, I never seen that coming. You take me back to what my mindset was 2-3 years ago. I was amazed by VR, and I wanted to see it go mainstream. And at that time, it was way too expensive to do it on PC because at that time, you're looking at anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 for a PC capable of running VR. You're still looking at that right now. You're still looking at paying that much for a VR-ready PC. The Oculus Rift CV1 and the HTC Vive, again, they were costing $600 and $700. So you're looking at a minimum of $1,600 to get into VR, on the PC side. So even with the $500 price tag, Sony offered you an affordable solution. And the current PC VR, the current PlayStation VR, showed me the potential of VR in the future, at least back then. So my thought process was that in order for us to get better games, instead of a lot of the indie games that we got, in order for us to get the AAA games, you guys heard me say this a million times, in order for us to get the AAA games, PlayStation VR had to be successful. I felt like they needed to sell like maybe 10 million units to get people like EA, 2K, Activision, to get those kind of publishers to take a look at VR. And but even with the 5 million that they sold, if Microsoft would have got on board with VR, that would have opened up a whole new avenue for publishers, for VR publishers, because it would have given them two major revenue streams with the Xbox and the PlayStation platforms. So, but Microsoft didn't get on board. We go forward. We move on without them. I still feel like I still felt like that. How far VR goes still depends on Sony. It's all on Sony's shoulders. This was before I even knew an Oculus Quest existed. That I even went as far as to believe that if Sony would have backed out of VR, that it would die. Because, VR was super, super niche. And I think, yeah, Oculus has some games, but, Sony gave us some high quality games too. One second, let me get a drink here. So, I believe that with PS5 and PSVR 2, this is a couple of years ago. I felt like that's when Sony was going to make their move to try to bring VR to the mainstream. And at that time, rumors were even going around that the next PlayStation VR headset could be as little as $250. So that made me wonder, okay, Sony must be willing to take a hit in order to bring VR to the mainstream. Hey, bravo. Then, at some point the Oculus Quest comes along. And the Oculus Quest got off to a little bit of a slow start, but I think that was deliberate on Facebook's part. I think they created an artificial shortage to drive up demand, and then they ended up having a real shortage on their hands, because then eventually demand outweighed supply. And then this situation with the Oculus Quest 2, I definitely did not see that happening, because I thought that the Oculus Quest 2 wasn't going to sell very well because of the Facebook login. But people have seemed to have accepted that and gotten past that. And the Oculus Quest 2, they can't keep those things on the shelf. I do think there was a couple of times where Oculus might have held back the Quest 2 in order to try to get rid of what's left of the Quest 1 and get rid of what's left of the Rift S. But for the most part, they can't keep that thing on the shelf. So that being said, more and more people are jumping on board with the Oculus Quest 2. And because of that, I question just how successful PSVR 2 is going to be. Sony has to know that. So my thinking is that Sony, because of the Oculus Quest, it disrupted a lot of things. The Oculus Quest disrupted a lot of things. So I'm thinking that Sony might go one of two directions with PSVR 2. One direction is they know it's not going to go mainstream because of the Oculus Quest. Therefore, they might go ahead and do the same thing with PlayStation VR 2 that they're doing with the current PSVR and refuse to take a loss on it. And they might go ahead and sell the next headset at $500. I think when things look promising for the next generation of VR to go mainstream, in Sony's favor, maybe they were willing to take a loss on the headset. Maybe they were willing to sell the headset for $250, $350. But now that we know that, the next iteration of PlayStation VR is not going to go mainstream, it's only going to go as far as Sony will market it within their own ecosystem. Now it might be a situation where Sony might refuse to take a loss on a headset, and they may walk in there understanding that PSVR 2 may not sell very well. Therefore, they may refuse to take a loss on the headset, and so we could be looking at another situation where the next headset launches at $500. So that's one route that they could go. Or if their big grand plan was to go mainstream and they know that because of the Oculus Quest it's not going to happen, maybe they'll scrap PSVR 2. I don't think they will, but I'm saying that I won't rule that out. Because I'm sure they sunk a lot of money into research and development of PlayStation VR 2. But if they go ahead and follow through manufacturing this headset and feeling like it could be dead on arrival, it would cost them even more money. So maybe they might be in a situation where, because of the Oculus Quest, they might have to go ahead and cut their losses. As far as that goes, the Oculus Quest, their days are numbered, because right now they're the only standalone headset out there. It's only a matter of time before more standalone headsets turn up on the market to compete with the Oculus Quest. And so that's going to be even more competition for PlayStation VR 2. That being said, anybody who's deep into VR the way I am, they know that PSVR 2 is going to be niche, and therefore is probably going to be super expensive. So that being said, I'm willing to believe that we're looking at a repeat of the current PSVR headset, where a deluxe model of the headset's probably going to cost $500, and a bare bones version of the headset is probably going to cost $400. All that being said, where does that leave me? Well, you guys have heard me say before that 95% of the reason why I was looking to get a PS5 was because of PlayStation VR 2. What I originally thought was going to happen when the PS5 launched, we already know that PSVR 2, at least the headset itself, we already figured that it wasn't going to come until 2021, maybe 2022. We already knew this before Sony even said anything, before Jim Ryan even said what he said a while back. But still, what I thought would happen was the PS5 would launch, we'd be able to use our current PSVR headsets on the PS5, and it led me to believe that the current PSVR headset would probably work on some PS5 games. That is not going to be the case. The current PSVR headset is not going to work with any PS5 games. And now that everything's out of the bag, it turns out that the current PSVR headset through PS5 is basically backwards compatibility. And not much is really going to change. You're still bound by some of the limitations of the current PSVR headset. for the simple fact that the console is emulating a PS4. So that being said, there's no reason for me to get a PS5 right now until the next headset comes out. So if it really boiled down to it, at the very earliest, I don't need to get a PS5 until 2022 or next year. We're in 2021 now. Happy New Year, by the way, everybody. So and as far as games that I'm interested in, Gran Turismo 7 is really the only game that I'm interested in on PS5 by way of VR. Yo, you dead? What's good? You got your Quest 2? My man. My man, 100 grand. Welcome aboard. And I think we're friends on the Oculus app anyway, so I think we good there. So we can definitely hook up. Once you get everything all set up, I would say go through side quests and check out that first-person shooter game that I streamed earlier today called Aim XR. It's a free multiplayer first-person shooter game. It's a game that I think is going to compete with contractors on Word of Pavlov. I think it's a pretty good game. I like it. I'm going to stream it again. Might stream it in the middle of the night if I don't fall asleep after this podcast. So coming back to a PlayStation 5. So PlayStation 5, PSVR 2, Gran Turismo 7. That's it. That's pretty much my reason for wanting to get a PS5. But now the racing sims on PC are giving me what I want. So now when it comes down to it, I don't even need Gran Turismo 7. All the racing sims that I have on PC give me what I wanted. Because what I wanted out of GT Sport was the ability to race online in VR. And you don't have that. But all the racing sims on PC do have that. I do have the ability to race online in VR against a full grid. I do that on ACC, Automobilista 2, Project Cars 2, Race Room. I was considering getting R Factor. You know, there's so many racing sims on PC that support VR and you can race online. I don't need GT7. Therefore, I don't need PS5. I want it, but I don't need it. As far as flat screen games goes, on PS5, I guess the only games that I can tell you that I might have some interest in, you know, I might want to take a look at the next MLB The Show for about 5 minutes just to see, you know, what it looks like. And probably the next God of War. I'll probably be interested in that. Those are probably the only two flat screen games that I can say that I would be interested in offhand. You know, we had the rumors of another Killzone game. We've had the rumors of Navy SEAL SOCOM coming back, you know, to PS5. But if those games don't have VR support, I'm not interested in them. Except bottom line. So simply put, on PS5, MLB The Show and the new God of War game, whatever that might be, those are the only flat screen games that I would be interested in on PS5. Anything else, if it doesn't have, if it doesn't support VR, I'm not going to be interested in it. That being said, again, at this moment, right here, right now, Gran Turismo 7 is the only game that I'm interested in that I believe might get some VR support on PS5. But I don't need it because I'm getting what I want out of racing sims right now. And in some ways, I think Assetto Corsa Competizione is a better game than Gran Turismo Sport. And I never thought in my wildest dreams I would say that. It's definitely blow for blow one of the best racing sims out there. It's just the VR part of it is poorly optimized. Automobilista 2, on the other hand, the VR is optimized great. Out of all the games, the racing sims that I have, Automobilista 2 looks the best. But at times it doesn't feel as much of a racing sim as say a set of course of competition. So anyway, going off the tracks, the bottom line is the one game that I was interested in for PS5, I don't need it. So that brings us back to my concern about Sony not really saying much about PlayStation VR. I'm at a point now where I'm pretty much ready to issue a deadline that if Sony doesn't start talking about PSVR this year, I might just go ahead and fold the tent. Just be content with staying on PC. Because for the most part, PC VR is giving me everything that I want. PC VR and the Oculus Quest standalone, those two are giving me everything I want. Truth be told, other than GT7, other than Gran Turismo 7, the biggest reason for me to want to get on board with PlayStation VR 2 is because Sony would be the ones with the deep enough pockets that would give us big AAA bangers in VR. As far as PC VR goes, Valve might be the only one that might give it to us. With the success of the Oculus Quest, I don't think Facebook is going to be interested in giving us any more, big AAA bangers. And after this situation with Medal of Honor, who knows where Respawn and EA are thinking. I don't know if they want to take a chance like that again. Therefore, that leaves Sony. At least, a couple of years ago, I felt like they were the only ones with pockets deep enough to sink money into big AAA bangers for VR with the pockets, with the pockets deep enough to do it. But again, I'm ready to issue a deadline that if we're in 2021 now, so I'm at a point where I would say summertime is probably my deadline. That if Sony does not start dropping hints or start talking about PSVR 2 by summer of 2021, that's probably what I'm going to start taking a look at, scrapping the idea of getting the PS5. Very well possible. Because right now, my immediate focus right now is to upgrade my PC. I mean, my first order of business right now is to add more RAM to my PC. The particular RAM sticks that I want to put in my PC are not available right now. They won't be available for a couple of more weeks. That's first order of business. The next order of business after that will be either to get a 3070 or to buy a used gaming PC to put it right here to replace this PC that I'm on right now, and use that as a streaming PC because I want to be able to start streaming my games in 1080p 60 frames per second. And it's not going to happen on this PC because this PC has about as much power as an office PC. I think all things considered, I think some of my streams still look good even though I'm using an office, basically an office PC to stream these games because I'm doing the PC, the two PC setup. I got my gaming PC over here and got this PC right here, and I'm using these two PCs, to work together on my stream. So they've been coming out a little bit better, but I think they can be even better if I get another gaming PC that's going to be quite a bit beefier than this PC. So that is the plan, to be able to start streaming my games in 1080p 60 frames per second. So that's a higher priority than the PS5 right now. So, um, I did a lot of babbling, but the bottom line is Sony being dead silent about PSVR 2. With each passing day that the Oculus Quest becomes more successful, and with each passing day that Sony does not talk about VR, it gets to be a little more concerning. Even though I know they're not going to talk about it for a while, but it still has that feeling like, are they going to commit to VR or not? Because in my opinion, if they were looking to go mainstream with PSVR 2, the Oculus Quest has thrown a serious monkey wrench into their plans. So it makes me question, how much will Sony commit to PSVR 2 knowing that it's not going to have mainstream success? It's not. So right now, I'm still on board with it. But they need to start talking about it sometime this year. And I'm not talking about in December of 2021. I need to start hearing something by summertime. If I don't start hearing anything by summertime, like I said, then if I don't have a PS5 by summertime and Sony isn't talking about PSVR moving forward in the future, and giving us some kind of roadmap, then like I said, I might go ahead and scrap the idea of getting on board with PlayStation VR 2 and be content with getting my VR fix on PC, which right now PC VR is definitely placed better than PlayStation VR, and no question about that. In with Sony acting like they want to wash their hands with the current PSVR headset, I couldn't recommend it to anybody right now. Somebody came to me and was like, they're getting into VR for the first time, I would have to recommend the Quest 2 for them. Because you're getting an amazing headset, which, I got it right here. You're getting an amazing headset, and you can connect it to the PC and play PC VR games as well. So, I can't recommend the being the current climate right now. I can't recommend PlayStation VR for anybody. I don't mean that in a bad way, especially if you don't already have a PlayStation VR. If you don't have a PlayStation to start with, you're looking at $650 minimum to get through the door. If you don't have a PlayStation, the current PS4 still retails for $300, and PlayStation VR still retails for $350. Or you can get the Oculus Quest for $300, and in my opinion, the Oculus Quest also has more games that you can play online. That's one of the bad things about PlayStation VR, is there's not a terrible amount of multiplayer games for the current PSVR. There's more multiplayer games on an Oculus Quest, and the thing got half the power of the PlayStation VR. And then again, you can connect it to a PC and play PC VR games. So, in my opinion, I can't recommend it to anybody, because you'd be paying $650 to get on a platform that Sony doesn't seem to be supporting anymore. No AAA VR exclusives on the horizon, and they removed the VR part of the PlayStation Store. So I just can't recommend it. Damn, it's already been 45 minutes. Okay, so we'll go ahead and wrap that up. And let's get on to the next subject. And that is, where are we at here? This screen is a little bit stretched, but this is Microsoft, I guess, filed about 8 patents, or they were granted 8 patents last week, on controllers related to the Xbox S Series S, Series X, and what they are simply calling game controller. You see the patent right here, Microsoft Design Patent D905164, game controller. That's all they're calling it, is a game controller, but it is a VR controller. Boy, Citizen, what's up? Now, I didn't even really know about this. The only reason why I even knew about it is because of the silly ass console war. So what I basically saw was on Twitter, on the Xbox side, there seemed to be a little bit of excitement about this controller. And what they seem to be reading into it is that Microsoft could still possibly get on board with VR for the Xbox platform. And the PlayStation side of it kind of thumbed their noses up and was like, you know, once again, Microsoft is copying, blah, blah, blah. They're copying Sony, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's the case. One thing that I don't think that a lot of people who are not in the know on the Xbox side and the PlayStation side, I don't think they really know that Microsoft has their hands in virtual reality. They designed the Windows mixed reality headset and licensed it out to several entities, you know, to Samsung, to to HP. So the bring it home Microsoft, I mean, yeah, if they do it, great, but I don't think they're going to do it. So, in any case, the HP Reverb G2, the Samsung Odyssey, to name a couple, those are mixed reality headsets based upon the Microsoft design that was licensed to them by Microsoft. In the case of the HP Reverb, what everybody's pretty much saying about the HP Reverb is that it is 4K resolution. That is, you know, as far as, you know, resolution goes, it's the best resolution. It's the clearest headset on the market right now, is what, you know, pretty much everybody's saying. But the tracking is not very good. The tracking is not that good. It's not terrible, but it's not great. It definitely doesn't measure up to the Oculus tracking. That being said, I think that's what these patents could be. Let's take a look at the other one. There we go. So that's another picture of it. So what I think all this is like, while the silly people in the council war are getting in the uproar about this patent, I simply think that it's a strong case that this patent is probably an improved controller for their mixed reality headsets. While other people are thinking that this could be an Xbox VR controller, I don't think that's the case. I simply think that it could be a redesign and improvement of the current mixed reality headset controllers. So moving forward, you know, then maybe the next iteration of the HP Reverb or the Samsung Odyssey will probably have improved tracking, and this could be the patent for it. You know, I had a dream of Microsoft getting on board with VR, but I don't think it's going to happen now. If it's going to happen, I think they would bring somebody else in to do it. I just do not see Microsoft doing what Sony did, designing and manufacturing their own headset. Microsoft just don't operate like that. I said it before, even on a post, on a Sick Humor's post, that Microsoft doesn't take any chances. They let other people take the chances. They let other people take the risk and let them do all the work, and then they swooped in with the plate and the fork, trying to get a piece of the pie once it becomes profitable. That being said, this patent again, I simply think it's a Windows mixed reality controller. I do not think this is an Xbox controller. My guess is that Microsoft, I think the furthest that Microsoft is going to take this patent is they're probably going to make prototypes of it and test it and make sure that the tracking is better on it. After that, they're going to license it out to HP and Samsung and whoever else wants to make a Windows reality headset. I think that's as far as this is going to go. So for everybody that was jumping up and down about this possibly being an Xbox VR controller, I just don't think it's going to happen. Microsoft is not going to make their own Xbox VR headset. It's just not going to happen. They'll partner up with somebody before that happens. They'll partner up with HP, which I think that if Microsoft were to partner up with somebody to bring VR to the Xbox, at first I thought it would be Oculus, because they did have a partnership with them at one time, but I think now they would either partner up with Samsung or HP if they were going to bring VR to the Xbox, because they already got the headsets. I told you guys before, to put it in a nutshell, they had partnered up with Oculus to bring VR to the Xbox One X. All these goddamn different names of these consoles. And it didn't happen. And Phil Spencer gave a myriad of excuses why it did not happen, but the bottom line is, I still feel to this very day the reason why VR did not come to the Xbox platform is because Oculus is moving too fast for them. Look how many different headsets Oculus has put out over the last 3 years. If you go back to the CV1, the Oculus Rift CV1, over the past 3 or 4 years, we've had the Oculus Rift CV1. We've had the Oculus Rift S. We've had the original Oculus Quest. Now we have the Oculus Quest 2. That's 4 headsets, in my opinion, over the last 3 or 4 years. You bring the Oculus headset over to the Xbox, you're asking the Xbox community to change headsets every year. And I think Microsoft wanted a headset that was going to be supported for the next 4, 5, 6 years. Maybe even longer. The Oculus Rift CV1 was discontinued a couple of years ago. The original Oculus Quest and the Oculus Rift S is being discontinued this year. And because of how quick the Oculus Quest 2 came out behind the original Oculus Quest, people are already speculating that we will see another headset from Oculus within a couple of years. There's no way VR would work on the Xbox. If they partnered up with Oculus, there's no way that would work. With that many headsets coming out of Oculus in such a short amount of time. I think the Rift S was going to be the target headset that Microsoft was probably looking to bring to the Xbox platform. If that partnership with Oculus still would have went through, I think the Oculus Rift S was going to be the headset of choice that was going to be on the Xbox platform. But I think it was a situation where Microsoft wanted them to support this headset for the next 4, 5, 6 years. And in my opinion, Phil Spencer knew that the Oculus Quest was on the way. and knew that the Rift S was going to be dead in a couple of years. I think that's why they did not bring VR to the Xbox platform, because again, in so now you guys understand what I mean when I said that Oculus is moving too fast for Xbox. They're putting out too many headsets in such a shorter time. You know, I've just ran off about 4 different headsets over the last 3 or 4 years. What do you think the Xbox community, how do you think they would react if they go off and buy the Oculus Rift and then the Oculus Quest comes out? And they find a way to make the Oculus Quest compatible with the Xbox, and then the Quest 2 comes out. You would have a very furious Xbox community on your hands. So I said it before. I think I said this about a year ago. When you look at it that way, I think Phil Spencer made the right move, not bringing VR to the Xbox platform if they were going to deal with Oculus. And those who are deep into VR like I am, you guys know, like a new headset seems like every few months, either we know about a new headset that's going to be coming in the near future, or we know about a headset that's been announced. Because we already know that, like, in the next year or two, I think there's going to be a couple of more standalone headsets that's going to come out and compete with the Oculus Quest. So, all that being said, this is not, in my opinion, an Xbox controller. This is a Windows mixed reality controller. That's probably been tweaked with better tracking, and you'll probably see it on the next iteration of the Samsung Odyssey or the HP Reverb or whatever other Windows mixed reality headset comes out. I just explained to you the situation. I made a short story long. I just explained the situation to you guys about Oculus and why they won't be on the Xbox platform. So if anybody, in my opinion right now, if Xbox were to use any of those headsets, if Microsoft were to use any of those headsets, it would be the HP Reverb. But that's still a quite pricey headset. I think that headset is $600, which I think is worth it, but it's still a tough pill to swallow because the HP Reverb G2 has a resolution of 2140, which is 4K, but yet you have an Oculus Quest 2 that costs half that amount and has a resolution of 1948, which is pretty damn close. They call it near 4K. And I am damn happy with the Oculus Quest 2. It is a great standalone headset, and it definitely gets the job done as a PC VR headset. I have not used my Oculus Rift S for any type of serious gaming since the Quest 2 came out. So anyway, so I went off the tracks a little bit. So yeah, if Microsoft, in my opinion, were to bring VR to the Xbox platform, it would be the HP. They would do it through HP or through Samsung. They're not going to build their own headset. And Oculus, Microsoft and Oculus are not on the same page as far as coming together for a partnership. So there you have it. So I'm getting a little raspy right now. I definitely want to thank those of you who hung out with me in the middle of the night. So I think at the conclusion of this stream, I'm going to go watch a little bit of YouTube. And if I'm still up, say an hour from now, then I might jump up and stream something. Don't know what, But we'll see. I have bought a bunch of games over the past week through these winter sales and that kind of stuff. So I still got a few games that I need to get to that I need to stream. One of them is Frostpoint Proving Grounds. Game sells for $25. I got it on sale for $10. I want to stream it, but I'm having a problem getting the window to show up. I can play the game inside the headset, but the window does not show up on the PC, you know, in terms of like showing up on the taskbar, and I need that window to be visible in order to be able to run it through OBS. So I got to get that mess figured out, but I got other games that I can still stream. Pixel Rip 1989. Yeah, Pop 1 as well. You know, and as far as Pop 1 goes, streaming Pop 1, I'm better off doing it from the PC because, for one thing, doing it from the Oculus Quest standalone, that's been wishy-washy. Sometimes when I stream the Quest 2 standalone, sometimes there's no game audio. All you can hear is me just... So bottom line is, I would just be better off streaming it from the PC. I would be restricted by a cord, but Pop 1 is a game that you don't need to move around. You can stand still. It doesn't require a lot of movement. It's not a very physical game, so yeah, that's a possibility. Pop 1's a possibility. So that being said, I think I'm gonna go ahead and hang it up. Getting a little bit raspy. I'm glad I got this out of the way, and it is officially Saturday, January 2nd, 2021. So, everybody, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I know I am. And I'm going to get on out of here. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Wakanda forever. Long live the king. Deuces. We'll see y'all later. Y'all have a good one.